You know, sometimes doing the right things for your animals can be heartbreaking.
So a few days ago, my livestock guardian dog, Toby, was diagnosed with Lyme disease. I was absolutely devastated by the news. It all started when I noticed one morning that he was limping around, and so I immediately rushed him to the emergency vet. They checked him out and confirmed that it wasn't a physical problem like an ACL tear or something. And what they discovered was that he did in fact have Lyme disease. And so ever since then, Toby's been resting on the farm and he's been on a pretty heavy course of medicine. He's been getting doxycycline as a way to try to address the Lyme disease itself. He's also been getting a pain reliever / anti-inflammatory to make sure that he's comfortable. I initially started trying to hide his pills in peanut butter, but I find that these pill pockets work so much better and are a lot less messy. And you know, over the last few days, Toby seems to be getting better. You know, he was still limping the first few days, but just this morning as I went out there to check on him, you know, he is actually walking around and doing just fine. And so I'm really heartened to see that improvement in him. And, you know, right now he's been confined to this kennel area so that he's not out and about running around too much. He has this space that used to be the goose house. There's this goose that has moved in with him and is acting as a roommate. But Toby's also customized this space to himself. He's actually dug this hole that you see here. He likes to go down in holes and I think it cools him down and it's a very comfortable place for him. I take Toby out for frequent walks so he can get a little bit of exercise and stretch his legs and have a little bit of stimulation. He also has this tarp as a way to give him extra shade because I want to make sure he can be out in the bird yard around the rest of the farm because I know the farm is Toby's happy place. If I were to bring him inside the house, I think he'd actually be very unhappy and it would hinder his recovery. By being here in this kennel, he's able to be around the other farm animals, watch over the farm, but also be restricted in his movement so that he can have the time that he needs to heal. And so I think this is working out as a pretty good area. And again, he gets out, he gets his walks, he can go to the bathroom and that sort of thing. Unfortunately, Toby Dog can't play with Abby because Abby likes her roughhouse. And like I said, I want Toby taking it easy. I want him healing. I want him repairing and getting better. I will admit that I'm very concerned about the long-term health effects that Lyme disease will have on Toby. You know, many of you have written to me about the chronic problems that your pets have from Lyme disease, and so I'm worried, and I want to do everything I possibly can to make sure he's going to be okay, and that he's going to be out here patrolling our fields for many, many years to come, and living a happy and pain-free life. So again, thank you to everyone for all of the well wishes and advice. And also, there's been a few people who've been super, super generous and offered to give us money for medical bills. And quite honestly, we've got it covered with the farm itself and it's not necessary, but the gesture is most definitely appreciated. If anybody ever wants to help our farm, please don't feel like you have to contribute money. The best way to ever help our farm is by sharing our videos with your friends and family and spreading the word and helping our farm grow that way. That's the best you can do for the animals on our farm. But again, I want to say thank you. And the good vibes are appreciated very, very much.
So the cattle are doing a good job grazing, but they're almost all the way through grazing through the permaculture orchard. They've gone through all 8 rows. They're on the last row now. Probably in, 3 or 4 days, I will actually move them down here. You know, there's plenty to graze, but the reality is I could actually start grazing them back up the other side of the permaculture orchard. And given the number of cattle I have, I've got no reason to break them out here, even though I'm still doing the work to fence in the upper pasture. I think I will actually still have them graze the upper pasture, but I might keep lingering in here just a little bit longer. So I continue to work on my quest of trying to get the cattle to let me brush them. I continue to just sit low and be very patient and hold the brush out. This morning I ended up bringing some treats as well. I feel like I always have to be extremely careful when it comes to the treats because these cattle have such large horns. Like if I'm sitting down low, like on a milk crate or something, one twist of their head could hit me in the face and that could easily just kill me. They wouldn't necessarily even be having to try to kill me, but they could kill me. And so I need to be careful. And so that's why you see me taking certain precautions like staying behind one side of the fence versus the other. But I continue to be slow and methodical and patient and hope that this ultimately will pay off in the weeks and months ahead. Abby continues to work on befriending the calves. She just gets a little too playful with them sometimes, and she likes to give them chase. But the calves actually like Abby, and Abby likes the calves. And so I think it's ultimately going to be the foundation of a good relationship. The Happy Cow Shade Mobile actually continues to hold up, and it's still in excellent condition. This anchor system I developed is also working really well. I still keep thinking about potential improvements that I can do to make it even better for next year. But for right now, I'm pretty pleased with what I've got. All right, let's move these cattle to fresh pasture. Hang on, Kurt. We'll be moving in a minute. Just chill out. They always make such a ruckus when it's feeding time. So I usually have to walk back and forth a couple times to get the grass knocked down for these cross fences. So I'll give the cattle this space for at least the morning into mid-afternoon, and then I'll come back out here and give them maybe 2 more fence post lengths down that way. Boy, I can see some hungry cows right here. Wow, did you see that? Kurt Cobain just nudged Jimi Hendrix away. Hey cows, come on cows. Hey cows, come on cows. Hey cows, come on cows. Fresh pasture, let's go. In you go, come on. You know, one question I have gotten a lot from folks is about the flies that we're dealing with. And to be quite open and honest with you guys, I'm not 100% sure I have it all figured out. Still working on that one. You know, I am really trying to raise my cattle in the regenerative farmer playbook, really avoiding things like insecticides. I know a substance like ivermectin would be super useful for dealing with parasites as well as things like flies. My concern is the way something like ivermectin works is when you apply it to your animals, it gets processed through their internal system and then they poop and pee it back out onto the pasture. And so what we have happen here is a lot of the soil microbial life that we have here ends up getting killed. And so while I'm trying to foster a good soil ecosystem, I'm also trying to make sure that my animals are comfortable. And like I said, I don't feel like I have that balancing act entirely at work here. Now, some things I've tried have been super useful in cutting down on the fly loads. Like, people laughed at me when I put fly paper out there, but it's actually been the most effective way to trap and discourage insects. I mean, would you look at the variety of stuff that we've got on this? And I just changed this paper, I don't know, 24 hours ago, 36 hours ago maybe. But as you can see, my cattle are still getting peppered with flies. And just in the name of animal welfare and making sure that my cattle are very comfortable, I wanna make sure it's not causing a problem for them. So I don't have it totally figured out. If folks have suggestions, I am completely all ears on that one. You know, the conventional agriculture playbook has some very specific remedies for this, and for good reason. But I really would like to try to be doing this a little bit differently. And so, I don't know, still working on it. You know, the main problem I have here, right, is my cattle leave these cow pies. The flies come in and leave their larvae and eggs. Those eggs hatch and they make more flies. And so I'm constantly battling this fly cycle around in this area. Like, that right there is the cause of my problems. One of the things I was planning on doing was using the chickens as a way to have them break up the cow pies and eat the fly larvae. But the problem I'm finding with that is I'm just about to move the chickens down here, and so they're still several days behind the cattle. That's not nearly fast enough of a movement pattern to effectively break up the fly cycle. Based on what I'm seeing, what I'd love to do is actually have the chickens mixed right in there with the cattle. Problem with that is this chicken wire is a lot harder to move than the cattle fencing, and the cattle take up a much bigger area. I wish I had sort of like a balanced solution for this. I mean, I could move this stuff daily, but I don't know. That'd add like about 45 minutes worth of work every single day. As far as being something that's actually sustainable for the farmer, I don't believe that that's gonna work. So I've been asking around and talking to folks about potential ways to solve this problem, but still don't have the answer yet. So do I like the fact that there are so many flies around my cattle? Absolutely not. Do I have a foolproof solution for the problem? Also absolutely not. Am I working on it? 100% yes. As I've said before, farms are ecosystems, but bringing balance to those ecosystems is not necessarily easy. You know, the flies actually play a necessary role in breaking down the cow pies and helping be decomposers in our ecosystem. So they actually do good work. The problem is they also create problems for the animals and me, and I just don't like them. So I'm trying to find that balance. One other thing I'm trying to do right now is I'm actually trying to introduce more things like clover seed into the mix to improve my pasture. So lately I've gotten into the habit of going to the cow pies, and after the cattle have done their thing, tossing just some clove seed very casually in here. I'm not under any sort of delusion that this is going to magically change my pasture overnight and improve the grazing quality, but adding more diversity, sort of an additional seed bank into the mix, I do hope it helps things a little bit. Plus, it's kind of fun, right? Abby, we're making it rain. Woo! Release the Kraken! Now you might notice I have fewer than usual ducks coming out of here, and I already have a bunch of ducks already outside. Oh, and there we have our Molly Wubbles, who's back to normal. And well, there's a reason for that. So about a month ago, one of my blue runner ducks started to get broody and started sitting on a nest. Much like khaki Campbell ducks, runner ducks are not known for being good mothers, but I decided to let her sit on the nest and take some time to see what was going on. Well, the other night I was locking everybody up, and I noticed that this one mama duck was sitting on a nest. So I've actually had the quack house sort of on lockdown, and I've been giving broody moms a chance to sit on their eggs. Got these 3 chicken mamas who I'm gonna continue to let them do their thing for right now. Yes, it does mean wasted eggs. I'll probably come in here and clean out again. This one mama duck, she was sitting on a duckling. I kinda wanna check underneath her to see if there's any more. What do you got there, sweetie? I know. Can I see what's under you? Oh, she's got at least 2 of them. Yep, you can see 2 of them under there. I think that's all she's gonna hatch because it has been a couple of days. Because I'm very worried about her mothering abilities though, I don't think I want her to continue to have these ducklings. I know it might sound a little bit cruel, but I think I need to remove her and take her ducklings. It's a little bit of a dilemma, but it feels like the right thing to do. I have a whole bunch of ducklings already brooding in the other room, and they're roughly the same age, and so I think that's what's gonna make the most sense here. Unfortunately, this is gonna be a little heartbreaking to watch. I'm not saying that she wouldn't potentially be able to raise them to adulthood. I'm just saying that they have much higher odds of survivability by going into the brooder with my other ducklings. You know, sometimes doing the right things for your animals can be heartbreaking. I know, little ones, it's sad to have to say bye to your mom, but you're getting a whole bunch of new brothers and sisters. And that's funny. Can you see that little one up in the front? That's the new little hatchling. The other ones are about 5 days old, and you can just see how much bigger they are than that little one. Not by a ton, but by enough that it's noticeable. This one that I'm holding in my hand still feels like tiny and weak, like it was just hatched, so I'm just gonna leave it underneath here and let it get a little bit more adjusted. Again, it's got plenty of feed, plenty of water. I gotta get him more grit. So you will notice there is one duckling though that doesn't look like the others. I'll give you a second to spot it if you can. I don't know, can you see it? See it right there in the back? Yeah. That one little chick still remains. I had actually taken him out of the brooder for a couple of days. So that second chick that hatched that had the leg problem, I was keeping our little chick here with it for company and just, you know, keeping chicks with chicks. But unfortunately, that little one passed away. You know, I tried to do everything I could. I fed it special, exercised it, built it braces. Nothing seemed to help it. This one though is super healthy and super lively and has kind of blended in pretty well with the ducks. I think he's gonna be a rooster ultimately, and I think his name is gonna be Duck the Chicken. Just kind of felt appropriate. And you can see our little duckling, just like, oh wow. See, it's funny, it might sound sad to like rip it away from its mom, but to put it with this many siblings who are at least close enough in age to it, you know, it actually I think works out pretty well. If I had to guess, I would say that that little duckling is a khaki Campbell runner cross. Or maybe just a pure runner duck, we'll see. You know, with my other ducklings, you can start to actually see who the runner ducks are versus who the khaki Campbells are versus who the Cayuga mixes are. As well as I got a fair amount of hybrids in here, so it's gonna be a very interesting looking flock. Yeah, you like that water. There you go. I'm your mama duck now. We're gonna put you back under here. Let you keep developing. It's funny, they fluff out so much quicker when they're under the mom than when they're in the incubator. Hey, Mr. Toby Dog. Come to give you your breakfast as well as change your water. Looks like you got some friends visiting, huh? Yeah, those 3 chickens are hanging out now. Somebody else hanging out in here? Just still that mama goose, huh? Yeah. You're such a magnetic personality, pal. Here, enjoy. Yeah, yeah. Such a good boy. Here's some fresh water, buddy boy. Oh no, barn cats, it's starting to rain.
Tut tut, it looks like rain.
Here, let me get you your breakfast. Chitty, you always crash into me. Here you go, Pablo. Molly, here you go. This is for you, sweetie. For those wondering, Molly Murder Mittens has made pretty much total recovery. Her cut on her eye is all healed up. It's much, much better. She's pretty much back to normal. Pablo continues to do really well. And Jeannie Barn Cat continues to be insane. So all in all, things in Barn Cat land continue to be good. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Go check out another one of our videos, and I will be back soon with some new content as well. Thanks for watching, everybody, and thank you for all the support.